Welcome back, everybody. It's time for our 6th matchup here on the mainstream. We get to cast the Wolves again.
Yes.
But not as confusing as the last time that we casted the Wolves versus Dire Wolves. This time, it's Mirage versus Wolves.
A lot of good memes came out of that
Yes,
cast, by the way.
It very much did.
Yep.
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too.
And it was a good match.
Yeah, it actually was a good match.
It was a good match for a very different reason, even if it did end up being a 7-2. Now, Wolves are obviously feeling very comfortable, very confident today. They're going to go up against Mirage, who haven't exactly had the strongest day just yet.
They had a great start against, Wolves way back in the beginning of Clubhouse. But ever since then, they've kind of been falling flat on their face because they haven't really gotten any points since. So they need to show up now once again, because otherwise I think their day three chances are absolutely abysmal if they don't get something here.
Yeah, I would be a little worried for Mirage as well. A loss here would all but send them home, and we'll obviously have some numbers to break down for you.
Yeah, I'm looking over the... Yeah, it's not pretty. We don't gotta look at the numbers. Let's just ignore them for now. The TLDRs, they need this really badly. Regulation win preferably. They're sitting on 1 point from that overtime loss. Then it's Dire Wolves with 3. Then it is FaZe with 6, and it's Wolves at 8. So it's a long leap to top 2, let's put it that way.
Not particularly good. A regulation win here for Wolves does not clinch their chance, but it basically does. If Wolves win in regulation and get all 3 points, that means that Mirage are basically gone and Wolves move on. I would imagine that FaZe Clan and Dire Wolves play into that as well, because if Wolves and FaZe Clan both win, mathematically we'd have to look at, does that make it impossible for Mirage and Wolves to come out ahead? And the answer to that question is very simply yes. Yeah. Right now, if Mirage does not pick up a single point, that means that tomorrow there will be 6 points available for them, which puts their ceiling at 7. That's already below Wolves. FaZe Clan are currently at 6 points. If FaZe win in regulation or win in overtime, and Wolves win in regulation here in these 2 matches, then that is it for Mirage. They are done. The question then becomes, what of Dire Wolves? Because they're at 3 points, but we can get into that later on. It is entirely possible that both teams from this group are locked in at the end of today, but of course we have to see how the matches actually shake out. We're gonna go to Bank again. They didn't play on Bank before.
No.
But we just witnessed a Bank match.
We did. This is going to be the first time. I had to double check. I believe it's the first time for both teams to go here. So, new territory for them, not for us. We've casted twice already. But these 2 teams have not gone here. Wolves, they've played Clubhouse and Villa more than anything else. Whereas Mirage, they're getting a little bit frisky. It's playing Theme Park against Dire Wolves. And they did not pay out, or pay off rather.
Pay out who?
That loss. Didn't pay out, period. What was that? What was that?
There's nothing.
Okay.
What is in Melted's hand? It's like an octopus?
It looks like an octopus thing, yeah. Sure. We got a wolf.
Well, we've actually got wolves.
Got wolves.
Wolves.
Many wolvesies.
Many wolvies, yeah. That's the way it works. Mo Hesse, front and center on your screen. He was added to the team along with Dexter, and domestically it elevated Mirage out of the basement and into prime position, but their results here internationally have been left wanting. To be fair, they are in a tough group. The best team out of Europe, and maybe not statistically the best team out of Brazil, but over the last year, one of the best teams, and then a wild card in Dire Wolves. Wolves 78% on the socials, 22% for Mirage.
Wolves are killing the social game.
Pretty lopsided, yeah.
I would say the way Wolves have been playing so far, they're like a top 5 team in my eyes, looking at how all the teams have performed in the games that I've watched, of course, that is. Wolves, they start off by banning away the Nuke. Of course, Bank, very big, very large map, a lot of default cameras that can be utilized to gain information, so Nuke is hard to play around. Mirage really taking their time on this one. Maybe they wanted to ban the Nuke, but it was done for them. A target ban onto Twitch instead. Extremely low ban rate on this particular operator, because most teams, unless it's a target ban, don't see any reason to ban it. And frankly, most teams don't even play Twitch in the current meta.
That is true. The F2 is still a very, very strong and very good gun, so That alone can be great. How many Twitch drones? Or how many drones does Twitch have?
Yes, 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Watch it, Buster.
Buster.
Watch it, Buster. Kaid and a zombie will round out the operator bans, with Nook being gone. Nook obviously having a disproportionate impact on this map because of how big Bank is.
Yeah.
Nook is strong on pretty much every map, but is especially so when it comes to bigger maps because you can be able to move around, be concealed.
You have basically more areas where you can be concealed on, yeah, sure. Also the garage aspect, when you attack the basement, you can just sneak past that default camera and walk straight in, or kill the default camera and sneak past the Yokar, black guy camera, etc. It doesn't really matter, but the point is, phantom pressure, essentially. You always gotta be wondering, what if there's a Nook creeping about here? And you never quite know until she shoots you, so... Round 1 on the way, we see a very different lineup than we saw in just previous game between Black Dragons and CAG. We're seeing both Echo, Castle, Goyo, and Jaeger on this basement situation. Now Wolves, they like to set up their basement to be a fortified position, then extend up on both the top floor and the first floor. You see people reinforce the triple wall in towards archives. That's to make the A hatch an area you can fall back upon and play rather safe, with the open area hatches up above being reinforced instead. But before we get underway with that round, we gotta go through a quick rehost here. And then we shall be back in the same situation, same reinforcement, same bomb site in just a moment. He's like, what happened?
Kento's like, what? For
It's
what?
like, why are we rehosting?
For what reason?
It's like, I thought we were fine.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Great question. I'm not entirely certain.
It's always Bibu.
Bibu is having so many problems. Why Bibu?
Bibu is the problem, apparently.
Okay, don't say that.
This sounds really rude, but...
Bibu is the problem.
Sorry, Bibu's computer appears to be the problem. Oh, actually, maybe it's Mo. I don't know. Looks like a mouse problem, if anything. The way he's dragging across the mouse map, being like, something's not dragging quite right on my screen. It looked like it, no?
I mean, all we can do is speculate. We don't know the reason at all.
Studying, I mean, I've studied a lot of hands and mouse movements in my time, and it looked like he was showcasing some sort of drag issue, right? Could be input delay, could simply be humidity issues, because when you travel across the world to different countries, you go from high humidity to low humidity, the mouse is like a sponge, right? It absorbs moisture to a degree, or if it doesn't get enough moisture, it changes the surface texture, and therefore it feels different. It's why a lot of pro players, they use water-resistant mouse mats, because then humidity isn't as big of a factor. Fun fact.
Sorry, you just put me to sleep there.
You see, you're making me go there again. These are things that matter for actual good players, Parker.
I just got really tired. All of a sudden, I don't know, it's just...
That's how I feel when I want to go to bed. I just put on one of your casts and I go straight to bed.
That's fine. I put on one of your later matches of G2.
Yeah, those are also pretty bad, aren't they? Invite 2020 VODs, oh boy, those are brutal to watch. I honestly, I don't have the guts to watch them back.
How did you guys qualify for Invite 2020 again?
Technically we didn't.
What match was it that you qualified for?
We kind of got pity invited, if you will, because we had like 4 different ways to qualify, and we messed up every single one. We were just that good that we didn't need to actually qualify. We just were like, we'll just get it given to us. Which honestly made things even worse, but it is what it is. And the past is the past. To make matters worse, during Invite 2020, it was Fnatic who beat us and NIP. Both were 2 teams we had like absolutely trash talked for a long time, being like, these are not that good teams. And they sent us home. That was probably where the fans were like, they loved it. They were like, you guys have been trash talking APAC for years, saying that they don't deserve to be here, and now Fnatic are sending you home. We got trashed and we deserved it. Every bit of it, every word. It was justified.
It's the old saying, I'm better than everyone who beats me.
Yeah, true. And that's the Monsters Inc. guy, it looks like. It's not Mike Wazowski, it's the other guy. Bully Billy? Oh, I want to say his name is Billy, but no. I need help. You know Monsters Inc. Parker, yeah? No, my Parker's occupied, not listening to me.
I'm listening to you. I do know Monsters Inc.
Okay. Mike Wazowski has one eye, the green guy.
That's correct.
The other name is is it Sully?
Sully.
Okay, that is Sully Teddy as well. That's all. I didn't need help. I was saying his name was Billy. I was like, Billy, Bully, Sully. No kiss this time?
Oh, blow us a kiss.
Come on.
Blow us a kiss.
Come on.
Do it. Blow us a kiss. No.
Oh, he comes here.
Ah.
He started with the eyebrows last time. Into the kiss. So I feel like had we stayed for a little bit longer.
So seductive.
Yeah.
So seductive, isn't it? Apologies for the delay. We actually have no idea what's going on.
No. See, there it is. That's Sully in mini version. I think. The colors match.
Maybe. It certainly does look like a mini Sully, but Mike Wazowski, you said, was like the one-eyed squid.
No, the one-eyed green guy, I said.
Yes, but...
Mike Wazowski. He kind of sounds like that, no. At least in the Danish version. I don't know the English version. Yeah, I watched it dubbed.
No, I was saying that the octopus slash...
Oh. No.
Kind of looks like a red octopus Mike Wazowski.
Yeah, but
literally the only thing it has in common is that it has one eye.
I was gonna say, literally that's the only thing. Like, it's not even the same color. I grew up watching all those, like, you know, movies that were like for kids, like The Lion King and whatever, Monsters Inc. And I was always like, oh, they're in Danish. That's so cool that Danish companies are making these massive things. And my heart was shattered when I were to realize that these are actually dubbed versions and they're in English.
Yeah, of course.
I was a kid, Parker. I didn't know any better. Like, that's all that I saw on TV was like Danish shows and whatnot, movies. I was like, these are Danish things because on Danish television.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go back into the game.
Beautiful.
We will waste no time.
Nope, straight back in, baby.
So yesterday we didn't have chairs.
Nope.
So today they gave us stools.
They're very short.
Stools are too small, so if we sit on them, we can't see the monitors. Do you want to take a seat?
I'm taking a seat.
Hold on, let's take a seat here.
I can kind of see a little bit.
I can't see anything.
No?
We're basically the same height.
Yeah, I guess my posture is better or something.
Yesterday when Wolves and Mirage met, by the way, was an 8-7 victory for Wolves. I don't think a lot of people expected them to be so evenly matched.
No.
Mirage had the lead for the entire game. In fact, it wasn't until the 14th round that Wolves took the lead. I mean, technically Wolves won round 1, but outside of that, Mirage had the lead the whole time.
Yeah, 1-round leads don't count as the first round because that's a given.
I know that you're making fun of me. I know that. I know you're making fun of me.
I'm not making fun of you.
I know you're making fun of me.
I'm agreeing with you, if anything.
You can agree and do so sarcastically.
That is true.
Clubhouse and Bank play out very differently, Nick. Tell the people at home how different they are.
So, Bank is obviously a very large map as we established with the Nuke Bank coming out. Clubhouse is all about the 1, 2, 3 fundamentals of how to breach the walls and which walls to breach. Bank actually is all about the first 2 stages, right? For example, on this basement attack, it's all about the roam clear. It doesn't matter if you can get to the bomb site and start planting, because frankly, when this roam is this active, that's not really an option. You have to go through the entire bomb site and kill everybody on the bomb site, push deep, and then make something happen. I like this push from Benji. He's going to establish control in Garage because it's free, and apply a lot of pressure towards the members that might be inside that red hallway. It's not going to do anything right now, but it's going to force some of the roamers back to the bomb site to try and deal with this player, and they're going to do just that.
And the first pick goes to P4. You seem to be exasperated.
It was just so easy. So I was like, that shouldn't be that easy, but it was.
Dexter fires back inside a Garage, the first pick for Mirage in this matchup. Very quickly how these numbers go side by side. And yeah, losing Benji, losing those Osa shields, that's a tough one.
It is, but they are all across the bomb site now because, again, as I said, they caused a distraction early in Garage, then forced the members into bad positions.
Oh my. That's Wolves getting absolutely shredded by Mirage. Mohesi's in, diffuser in hand, P4 from above. Diffuser goes down, P4, good patience. Where will he drop? The Lion's Den. Mirage watching this hatch as P4 plods along and will drop. Lasting 1, 2, that is it. Taken out by what appears to be the Flores. and that's Mirage getting on the board first. And you know they're not technically in the lead because first rounds don't count.
Yes, exactly that. As I was saying, that the map control matters a lot, and what happened that round is that Wolves are roaming with 4 members. When the O's starts pushing Garage, it's forcing Wolves to make a decision that has 2 options. 1, ignore the Garage player and just make the bomb site very vulnerable, or send members back to the bomb site, therefore giving up map control and putting yourselves in a bit of a compact position, which means you don't have a lot of control all of a sudden. Then when Mirage do that successfully, they go in through lobby, they drop the lobby hatch, and they backstab essentially the members of Wolves while also attacking from the Garage side, sandwiching them between 2 different attacking squads. And it worked really, really well. Obviously it comes down to individual gunfights going certain ways because that was all about winning those individual gunfights. But outside of that, Mirage had a really good grasp on what to do in that scenario, and I like the fact that Wolves were so quick to respond, but Mirage were equally fast and therefore came out ahead. Things were very calculated. Benji now on the Ying, a great execution enabler with those Ying Candelas and the smoke grenades to go with it. No hard breach from the side of Mirage whatsoever. So this has to be a direct push, or they have to find kills, because you can't open up any walls, you can't open up any hatches, so you're limited in your choices here. It's gonna be another bloody round. All about fighting back against the Wolves. Now, Mirage's aggressive playstyles will work the first time, and it might be a rush straight through bottom square in the second round here, because they got the Sledge and Thatcher ready to go.
Lined up, ready to roll. That's a castle barricade ready, and there it goes. They are off to the races. Down goes Bibu. Mirage in excellent position. They get Rise now as well. Mohesi's been the one taken out from MRG. P4 still in this position.
Oh, it fell down.
Drops, no, and the nade goes down with him. They managed to get away. Mowgli on the flank, spotted by Benji. No use whatsoever for those yokais. Shinka helpless inside of Archives. Down goes P4 as well. Mirage are playing this one so well, and Wolves look absolutely listless as they slaughter the last player and immediately go up 2-0.
And again, Wolves, they struggle so much with this calculated aggression. There's an issue on Clubhouse the first match, and it right now is proven to be the exact same situation. And again, Mirage, they have this kind of, you can call it a cheese strat, a one-off strat, a rush strat, whatever term you want to use. They seem to have one of these kind of executes for every single given bomb site. And when Mirage, they successfully do it twice in a row, now Wolves, they have to wonder, can we even afford to roam? Because what if they do it again, right? We're back to open area, and you have to be like, well, there's no way they're going to do it twice. However, if you roam with 4 members of the bomb site and Mirage, they have that information, why wouldn't they do it twice? So, Wolves going to be on their toes now, and they can't play too far away from one another. Playoffs qualifying probabilities on your screen. Even if Mirage gets a regulation victory, it's a very dire 18% chance to qualify for playoffs, whereas Wolves, they basically lock themselves in if they can muster that regulation victory. But even going to overtime, it's still looking really good for them because of their good efforts earlier today and yesterday.
I mean, even a regulation loss gives them 83%
exactly.
to make it. That is exceptionally good. I would take those odds 4 times out of 5. No,
what?
Is this thing on?
Yeah, no, I was thinking, which is the 5th scenario where you wouldn't do it. I was thinking
80%.
Sure.
4/5.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Oh my God, it's happening again.
It is, but through basement up main stairs into the double door for Beepers. That's what's gonna happen instead.
Watch this. Let's be quiet as they come in.
Sneaky, sneaky.
Shh, be very, very quiet. We're hunting rabbits.
Wolf could deduct that something is going on because with those yokais and default cameras not being shot, they're like, well, nothing's happening. You see Rise, he has an idea that something must be going on in the basement. It's a good read. But there's 3 members. He's not gonna get out alive.
Rise might be able to take one of them down. Candelas go off. Does it get Rise's attention? Laser-like focus.
What?
And he engages, taking 2 of them down. That's going to hurt Mirage's ability to get on in, but instead Melted bursts forward. Mowgli also taking out Mohesi. This was a bold move, and it's only Benji Moolah left. They call him Cash Money. He's about as valuable as an NFT right now. 1 kill to his name.
Yep.
Any more to be found?
Cash him in. Get 1 more.
Cash your checks. My apes. My apes are worthless.
I can't.
Benji's going to take a timeout, I'd imagine, at this point. There's not much you can do. They know exactly where he is. Or maybe what
my God.
What is going on?
It's a dance-off with the tablet.
I'm shaking.
Shaking in my boots.
His open area defense is going to go in favor of Wolves unless we see one of the most miraculous clutches
Of all time, yeah.
I mean, Benji's trying. I'll give him credit for that.
And Wolves, they're holding on. Discipline. Mowgli finds the final kill.
They take him out.
And that entire round is essentially off of like game sense / game knowledge. Again, Shinga's checking cameras saying lobby's clear, square is clear. Like, nothing's really happening, boys, right? It's like, well, they must be in the basement, so I'm gonna cover main stairs. Another member, I didn't see who, was covering server stairs. So no matter where they're gonna pop up from, you would at least get the information, and then Rise won the gunfight, both of them in fact, which should not be allowed, and shuts down the entire push. And it's very impressive from Rise, because while that was happening, the Candelas are flying in towards the bomb site from that printer window, and it didn't force Rise out of position, because he knew someone else was covering that area, so he held on to that main staircase, which was really important because if he turned around to chase the Candelas, well, the storm comes up through those staircases in towards the bomb site, and that would be bad news for Wolves. So very well read from them. It's also why these kind of direct attacks that we've seen 2 rounds in a row, once on basement and then on open area, the first time around, they only really work if you act very quickly. Because the longer you wait, well, the gig is going to be up at some point. But like, well, nothing's happening. So that means something is actually about to happen, but they need to build it up first. And the penalty of sneaking around is that you're going to be much slower than if you're sprinting. But it generates less noise, which for those kind of surprise strats, you need to have the surprise element. It's why Blitz is such an effective operator, because you can sprint as Blitz. You can, you know, enable that fast push. Whereas Monty, you'll hear him and see him from a mile away and be like, guys, there's a Monty in lobby, and you have a whole minute to figure out what to do about it because you just can't rush through things.
Not really much else to enable the Monty here. The Ying was only used for a single round. Now it's the Capitao coming into play. I guess technically the Ying was used twice in a row, but nothing much to aid Mohesi. I do like that they decided to go for broke on that round.
I like it. I always like watching like unorthodox strategies, one-off strats, because it's hard to prepare for as players, and it's hard. Oh my god, what a grenade! It got the jammer off the wall and the injure onto Bibu. Now, thankfully for him, Shinga is playing the dog with that buff. He's full HP again, just like that. What a beautiful position to be in.
Able to get him right back up. Those changes to Doc, putting him in a strong spot. We've actually seen quite a lot of Doc recently. Very limited, if any, Thunderbird. Not that I can think of,
yeah,
actually.
no, true, actually. I don't think I've seen a single Thunderbird.
To be fair, Thunderbird's place tended to be on both Chalet and on Oregon. Good night. Nicely played by Mirage. They're clobbering the Wolves. Hello! Oh, Bibu stops the flawless round. Mirage on that rush. They get it done.
And again, this time they get to set things up in Wolves. They knew what was about to happen, but the one thing they couldn't account for is, well, it's a 50-50 gunfight between a member of Wolves jumping out of square to fight Kento on that CEO Repel. And if you lose that gunfight, the Repel stays alive, and you can't afford to send the second member out, because even if you get the kill, that member is all the way in spawn and cannot help the bomb site itself, so you're almost guaranteed to fall regardless. And timer is stuck. Will this be what could be a Wolves tactical timeout? Maybe?
Just waiting on confirmation. Could Bibu be the one, the culprit yet again?
Again. Yeah, some heads are off, so something must be cooking.
Neither of the coaches have their microphone down, but Mohesi has the headphones off. And again, you always know it's a tech issue. Why?
Because the headset's off.
Because the headset is off.
Yeah. The thing is, it's going from both sides, so that's also where I'm curious as to if it's a member of both teams or what it is. Either way, explosive round from Mirage once again, finding success on every single attack, like on the various bomb sites. Even though they lost the last open area attack, they won the first time around. It was back-to-back for Wolves. Now, the thing is, they must be running out of these sort of strategies sooner rather than later, because they've done them 4 times in a row. Worked 3 out of 4 times. It's very good numbers. But we still got round number 5 and number 6 underway to come ahead of us. And at some point, you gotta change the pace around, because Wolves are gonna start adjusting to this level of play and how fast things are happening. That's when you might see the Capcan. We might see a Clash to slow things down further, or play more utility-based operators like Melusi or Ella, etc. So when those pushes come through, you're gonna be affected by other pieces of gadgetry that can catch you instead of just gunplay. Then Wolves themselves, of course, gotta go on the attack inside. Most teams prefer the attack inside on Bank because it's a very big open map, long lines of sight. You have zoom scopes on attack. You don't have that much access to that on the defending side. And most bomb sites is very hard to play on defense. So many window repels, angles, crossfires, and of course, if you're good at using utility like grenades, like we saw in that CO defense, even a safe spot like the top 4 elevator is not really safe for Jaeger or Mai, because one single grenade boy can just put you on the floor.
We were told that the issue is that it was an improper skin.
Really? That's what this is for? A player put on an illegal skin?
I would imagine so.
Wow. I'm actually surprised that players put on skins at all, given that you can't see your own skin in game besides weapon skins really and the gloves. But yeah, I'm also surprised that they put on the wrong skin. But I shouldn't be surprised about that. But
the only thing that should be allowed is changing the operator card background to your team's background. Remember, we booed you every single round in Charlotte if you didn't do that.
Yeah, you started something that really spiraled out of control.
I lost control of the monster.
You did. You're like, one time and one time only, we will boo because of lack of skinergy. And it was like every single... We're like, but why are they booing? It's like, oh, they're missing a skin. It was actually pretty rough. It was funny, though. But people who weren't, like, who had just tuned in was like, why are we booing? Like, what's happening?
Why are you booing me? I'm right. I mean, technically, I was correct.
No, you were. You absolutely were. Like how Dexter is like, he was lounged back in his chair, just absolutely vibing out, being like, you know what? I might as well get comfortable.
It has more than one eye. It's not even...
It has 2 eyes?
Oh my god.
It looked like just 1 eye earlier.
It looked like it had 1 eye. Where did the second eye come from?
It just grew another one. That's how much time has passed.
Evolution's a hell of a thing.
It really is.
I think it's crazy that there are people who just don't believe in evolution.
I mean, evolution I understand because it's kind of weird, but it's like, if the Earth was flat, why are shoes kind of curved, you know? It's one of those, like, it doesn't really make sense. Because shoes aren't fully flat.
Have you been following the birds aren't real conspiracy?
I've heard about those.
I was wearing a shirt one day when we were in LA. It was a conspiracy that was created to make fun of how people can just be brainwashed by the most silly of things. Like, the Earth is not flat. I'm sorry, I don't care what you think. If you genuinely think the Earth is flat, if you think that there's an ice wall that's patrolled by helicopters that shoot you, or that you fall off the Earth, it's like, just knock it off. Just knock it off. I refuse to believe that you're...
So what about the bird thing?
Anyway, there's a group of guys who created this fake conspiracy called Birds Aren't Real. And the genius of it is just like how quickly disinformation can spread. And basically the premise is like, they're like, have you ever held a bird? It's like, I physically have never touched a bird.
Yeah, most people haven't.
I've never touched an actual bird, and most people have not. And they're like, so how do you know it's real?
I think a lot of people make the argument is like, have you ever seen like a baby bird as well?
Yeah,
like flying around?
Have you ever actually seen a baby bird? No, I've heard them. Yeah, well, it just sounds in the nest.
Well, I've seen them in a nest, but I've never seen like a smaller pigeon flying next to a bigger pigeon, right?
I've never seen the actual like full body. I've seen a head.
Yeah, fair.
You know?
Yeah.
Anyway, they've got things where it's like, I am a lie, and it's like, if it flies, it spies.
Okay.
What was it? There was a...
It's like a fly drone I think I heard about as well. It's like flies are actually mini microphones flying around recording people. Yeah, that's stuff like that.
Bird watching goes both ways. That was the whole joke, right? About when COVID first started, people were like, oh no, it's just the government changing the batteries in the birds.
Oh boy. Oh, we're back. Great.
People are going to be like, how the hell did they get onto this? Somewhere there is somebody whining that we're not paying attention to the game because we are on an unspecified tech break.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't care what you think.
So yeah, well, let's clarify. We were in a tech pause. Didn't know for how long, so we
didn't even know that was the cause. They said, we think it's a skin issue. And it's like, okay.
Yeah. And now we're back. Wonderful how that works.
I think you have to leave the game to change your skins, do you not?
Yeah, you would have to leave the game to
But nobody has left the game. Everybody's still got the same numbers, so I don't know.
I actually don't know either.
Dude, we went from joking about how boring G2 is to me fake sleeping to making fun of how dumb NFTs are to or well, not how dumb they are, how little value they have now.
Yeah, that's what
I should say technically, because that was the crux of the joke. To then talking about flat Earth and somewhere there's somebody just who hates fun. Being like, you should be talking about the break. Oh, it's a yokai early on. We are in live action, though, by the way. Mirage have been very quick to try to get into the bomb site. They're up 3-1 and looking for another opportunity to do that. They walk through the dirt tunnel.
Damn, the entire push practically stopped with the kill plus the toxic gas coming out. And Mirage, they did have one more direct attack left in them, but it's not looking like it's going to work out. They could still commit, of course. Still got the Monty, can burn out more toxic babes from Shinka's side of things. Yokai Jones should no longer be a problem. Mo has to get into server, start opening up that default wall. Actually, they're both soft, so they're both open. Now the A hatch, I'm trying to see if it's open. I think A hatch is open, so you have to plant behind the Monty on the server rack wall, not the default normally you would see. That means that Kento's on flank, watching square. Mo, Melted, and Benji can work server together. They're fighting against two toxic babes, a C4, and Yokai Jones. If Bibu can communicate this position of Kento and try and get a kill here from P4's assistance, that could really turn the tide. But the plant is also going down. No one's stopping them. They have no idea. Hello?
You got these yokais in play, and you just don't happen to see.
They were distracted in one area, completely distracted by Kento.
Oh my. Mirage, nerves of steel, but P4 from above, rhythmically taking out Kento. Say goodbye. First kill for Mirage comes in. It's on the rise. The Monty far enough back. Mohesi standing there waiting. It was Mohesi on the Monty before. Now no longer, but he'll be taken out from an angle that isn't seen. Benji hit by the Yokai blast. Mowgli on the defuse. There goes the pistol, and suddenly it's putting in good work. All of them falling. It's Bibu against the Monty of Benji, and he doesn't have enough time. A smite to end the round.
Oh my god.
Mirage is up 4-1.
That's incredible. I mean, it's such it's a heartbreaking moment because you have a Yokai drone literally watching the bomb side, but Bibo was like, well, is this guy top square? And I want P4 to know his exact whereabouts and communicate what he's doing, what he's looking, etc. And while that's happening, just timing-wise, Mirage, they walk on in to try and bait out something like, again, the C4 or a smoke or something, and they're like, well, nothing's really being tossed at us. We'll just stick this plant and play the post plant in that 3 versus 5 circumstance, and it works out. It was a really big play from the multiplayer. I don't know, it's Benji or whatever, but the multiplayer from Mirage aggressing with that ADS. It was Benji indeed, yeah. Getting the kill right here, a second kill to follow basically, and damage onto the third. Bought enough time and added enough pressure where Wolves, they could not successfully counter defuse. And the thing is that Shinka had 2 toxic babes left. There was a C4, and they did in fact have that Yokai drone available to them. But things just didn't go their way. And Wolves, they have to start feeling like getting cheated out of these rounds at how things are breaking down in front of them. They still have their tactical timeout. They've chosen not to use it. And I am very confident that Wolves have, you know, they believe in their attacking side when they get there. Ideally, they want to get a 4-2 split because Bank is attacker favored. And then they can just really steamroll on their own attacks, which they're so great at on other maps. Gotta get there first though. And Mirage, they are a team of new young gunners. They thrive off confidence and really believing in the systems they put in place. And when they're winning these kinds of rounds, they gotta be confident because they're stealing it, the show, absolutely. P4 with good info could jump out for a trade. he's lucky could find 2 as Benji has a pistol in his hand. The second member is droning.
Benji did what?
Benji's droning? Is his pistol out?
This is not what I heard.
Wait, what did you...
It's fine. Somebody else will have heard it as well, and I know there's going to be at least one.
Oh, no, come on. I said pistol. Pistol out. I am tired. I'm not that tired.
Kento died, by the way.
Yeah.
Odds, are they pumping in laughing gas or fumes in here? I'm not sure. Mirage in command of this matchup. Kento is the one to die. Putting them on the back feet. These teams have actually traded out first kills quite effectively. Wolves ahead 4-2 as to who can draw first blood. This is a much slower round for Mirage as they've expended 90 seconds. Dexter now the next one taking damage. Very quietly amassing 7 kills. Dexter.
Also the first quote-unquote proper round that's being played out right now. No rush, no shenanigans, no one-off operators, etc. We're actually playing a very normal round, but that favors Wolves. That's why they've been doing it. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at it right now. A minute on the clock, stable position. Mirage, no real way into the bomb site. Have it on vertical play. P4 can't flank. It's not a great position for Mirage to be in, unless Mo can find this kill. That would help.
He's coming very close, just waiting out the ammunition from P4. Still half of the magazine left for the Valkyrie down below. Playing behind that server rack. Pinpoint accuracy needed, but oh, Mo wins it. Doesn't take a single point of damage. And he can get away scot-free. Final 30 seconds left. The pace for Mirage will have to pick up. And look at Mo, he could have another. Hard right of the doorway, Mo. Hard right of the doorway. Bibu's not even looking in that direction, and he's looking in that one, though. Mo chooses incorrectly, but Melted has his teammates back. Down he goes. That smoke's in to obscure the Dokkaebi. Shinka in bad spot. Mowgli with a kill, but the diffuser's going down. Wolves will need to watch. It's Benji to cover. That is it. He is the saving grace for his team. The Warden can see through that smoke. Posting up. Down goes Benji. It's Melted, who just got the diffuser down, popping back up. He can play off of this spot. This is going to be a tough position for him to be in. He'll get pushed from the right.
Winnable.
He knows it, but he goes for the prone instead. 2 kills is all he's going to get. Wolves managed to hop on the diffuser with 30 seconds still remaining. The well-dressed Warden and the Echo working together in tandem as the support. First half in the books. Mirage comes out ahead 4-2, but the Wolves are able to keep it closer than a 5-1.
It's a good retake as well. They play their cards right. Mowgli finding so many kills in that round. 3 to his name, I believe. And that's going to be the first half in the books. 2-4 side swap. That's what Wolves wanted out of this. Both teams still have their tactical timeout available. It all comes down to how well can Wolves attack themselves. If they can do as good of a job as they do in Clubhouse, they're in good shape. Mirage are bringing a phenomenal lineup here. Again, it speaks to the dynamic playstyle of this team, right? The castle enables the roam, so does the Mossy. Warden can hold the bomb site if any smokes or flashbangs were to come around. Alibi, again, aggression all across the board. And Mo is always gonna be on smoke, just holding down one area of the map throughout the entirety of the round while bringing the deployable shield as well. And it's gonna be a fortification inside of open area. Castle barricades and reinforcements both being invested in this location to help the roamers out. Similarly to what Wolves did themselves too, although they started top floor and fell down 1 floor bit by bit. Kind of what Kento is doing right now. Wolves could respond, go server or garage for direct bomb site pressure, or they can challenge the roam game, which looks to be the case right now with how aggressively Mowgli is about to move into this building.
Is that Mowgli with 7 kills?
Yes, sir.
Again, very quietly doing this. I can't wait to hear the breakdown from some of the NA players as to how Mirage has put this together. Wolves, a bit bit by the fact that when a team is, quote-unquote, supposedly beneath them, they struggle to do well. It's the same fear that you have when you look at the APAC team in the group that they're worried, okay, well, Dire Wolves is supposedly a worse team than Wolves. Could it possibly be close? I mean, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
But it could have been.
Could have been.
Absolutely could have been.
So fast entry, but a slow mid-round here. Mowgli was waiting for the confirmation that there was no roamers up top inside of CEO before might meet a member or two of Mirage here, because open areas where all these roamers are going to be. 3, in fact. Kento, Benji, and Melted all playing together. But they're waiting for Wolves to make the first move. Jones had to come through. Only 5 remaining, by the way.
Oh!
Nice shot from Mowgli.
Dexter was not prepared for that one. It looked like he might have been. Melted still upstairs on this open area hold. Kento not too far off. It's been a while since we've seen such a dedicated open area hold for teams. I'm assuming that's a grenade that goes off. Melted still playing around this deployable shield. He's got sight lines over towards square stairs as well as towards archives. Mowgli to take the engagement with a minute left. Melted still has not been moved off of the spot. He sees one that's dropped, and he'll give information on that, but he gets spotted. This is where things are going to get tough. He's all by his lonesome, and there's too many angles for him to cover. Wolves will stretch their lead now into a 5v3.
Still got 50 seconds to work with as well, and these hatches already are opened up. Mirage, they have 2 aggressors, and a nice shot from Mo, and that's going to buy them a lot here. It's the top gunner off the board, and Nate's gone as well. All they have are flashbangs, no smokes to spare. Wolves, they got to act, and they got to act fast.
So it's Shinka now waiting by the breach, the area where you most expect a diffuser to get planted. Wolves getting into position up above. Hatch is still opened up. That's the last of the hard breach that I'm assuming they're going to do. Only 15 seconds left on the clock. Shinka getting smoked out, but he charges on in. Multiple players go in. Wolves getting a pick and then another to follow. It's Benji in a 1v4, make it a 1v3. He loses out as the diffuser goes down, and then another opportunity passes through his fingers. But he's been able to soften up one player from Wolves. Both Rise and Shinka are in positions where Benji could come out ahead, but he'll have to tussle with Bibu first. And while this is happening, he'll get swung on by the buck. Rise seals the deal. 2 in a row for Wolves. They're starting to chew away at this lead of Mirage.
Yeah, very methodical round as well from Wolves. They just take it step by step, solving the problems one at a time. And one of the ways that Wolves can start to struggle is if they start skipping those steps, and that's mostly coming from Mowgli, where he's like, it's probably going to be clear, I'll just walk on and take that risk. And it happened yesterday when Wolves played against Dire Wolves, or earlier today rather, should I say, on Villa, where Mowgli would just kind of be like, I'll just take this chance, and then die. And Wolves, they really depend on Mowgli's aggression to get into these opening kills and to get into the fray of the battle. So they need him to take a second sometimes. And they did a good job in that round because Mowgli entered fast through top square, but they didn't know if CEO was clear. He just waited for 30 seconds straight up, moving a muscle, because he was waiting for that call, whether it's Mowgli go kill or Mowgli go do vertical play. And once they figured out which scenario it was, then he could start the verticality. They start picking apart the roam game. And sure, Mowgli eventually fell in that round as the first member, but they got 2 kills off that. It's valuable. It's worth it. Mo on pulse now. Gain some information. Try and utilize that C4 for a kill, perhaps. It's an open area defense after a failed attempt at basement. Oryx as well on the board. Very aggressive lineup again from Mirage. Nothing out of the ordinary. And Wolves, again, applying pressure on site. Long angle here from outside the building. Mowgli not able to do the entry duty right now because he's looking for a kill fishing on that window instead. Rise will start droning. Got the bog and the sledge. This means that Bibu is freed up to do something else.
Fishing for kills on Repel.
Fishing for kills on Repel.
Is he holding an angle? Call him an angler.
That's a good one.
Thanks, I try really hard.
Those scare me, by the way. Anglerfish? Oh boy.
Well, an angler is also just a fisherman, but yes.
Oh,
typically the fish who are at the deepest parts of the ocean are exceptionally creepy.
Yes.
They're very scary.
Spooky scary.
You mean there's no light down there, so you generate your own light? Okay, I'm gone. Goodbye. I don't want to deal with that.
I feel that.
An exciting, tense matchup between these teams in map number 1 yesterday, and it has played out very similarly here. Mirage had the early lead and then continued to lead through most of the game until Wolves closed that gap and then prevailed in overtime. All 15 rounds were needed. The way these two teams have been playing, the back and forth, it seems like that'll be the case yet again. Mirage has changed a lot of things up. They've gone from being quite ambitious, quite audacious, I guess you could say, on their takes, to then playing very standard. And I think you're correct that the more standard Mirage plays, the more it feeds into this Wolves team. starting off with another first blood. Wolves lead the way. They've only lost 2 rounds where they are unable to get that first blood. They've got the first blood in all the others.
Mo just waiting around right now. He's been playing inside the archives for so long on his scanner, and now that he finally leaves, that's when Wolves, they repel on in. So the C4 doesn't find any value in this round as of yet, at least. And Mowgli, through that softball that's opened up by the defenders, finds a free kill onto Mo, who has not done much this round, unfortunately. It's a 3v5 with 45 seconds left in Mirage. They have to get aggressive now and get those numbers back down from Wolves.
It's been a rough game for Mo, not just in terms of kills, but how he's been playing out with the team. He, on attack, was rotating through a variety of different operators. Another one from Mowgli. Kento's down for the count. Dexter, the saving grace inside of the bomb site. Good enough for 1 kill, no more than that. It's Benji to try and secure what had been done to Mowgli at the double doors of A. Benji waiting patiently. Flashbang goes out. The drop could possibly happen. Dexter secured by Mowgli. And Bibu's going to jump on top of Benji. Didn't even see it coming. He was so blind. Mirage, well, they had quite a gap between them and Wolves, but Wolves have closed it up. And we've got a tie game as that's 3 rounds in a row.
See, the thing about Mowgli is you said he was on 8 kills, and you mentioned him. It's like, that's been a quiet 8 kills for him. And the thing about him is that he will just casually find these triple kills. I think this is his 3rd triple in these 9 rounds for him. And it's very casual. It's not a flashy way of playing the game. But when he's needed to be clutch and have those flashy moments, he also shows up. It reminds me of another incredible player, which is Paolo from Team Liquid. If you study Paolo for like 1,000 hours, you're not gonna be like, wow, this guy's really flashy, crazy flicks, always doing these crazy things. No, Paolo is just a very consistent monster. He's like slightly above average as like his gun skill, but he is like extremely consistent. And when consistency shines through, you're just gonna get those kills every single round. And that's gonna build up over time. So if you drop 15 kills every single match, you look like an absolute monster. But it's not because you're flashy. It's because you're always good.
I would like to interject for a second here.
Go for it.
With a spoiler.
Okay.
A spoiler!
Spoiler!
Dire Wolves just beat FaZe Clan 7-3.
What? What?
You would react with that.
No.
That is correct.
Wait, that's absurd.
That's
no?
at least that is what we are being told.
That's actually hard to believe. No offense to Dire Wolves, but like FaZe looked so formidable, and they beat them 7-1 before that.
That's correct.
Wow.
The rematch does almost always tend to favor the team that lost the first time. CAG in the matchup that we just witnessed lost to Black Dragons. They won the rematch. Dire Wolves got beat by FaZe Clan. Dire Wolves wins the rematch. Can Mirage hope that the same will happen here? Well, they're going to have to pull it off and possibly forfeiting this round, at least fighting from behind as Kento is dropped. P4 literally jumps in, gets the kill, jumps right back out.
Yeah, and it's smart to jump back out because you don't want to over-aggress like Mowgli did just there. He finds one but keeps going forward, gets shut down instead. It's a 4 versus 3 still now in favor of Wolves.
And yet another opening pick for this Wolves team. This has been a game that's been defined by objective play as well. By round number 7, a diffuser had been planted 5 times out of a possible 7 rounds. That is quite an impressive feat, especially for a map like Bank that in many ways does tend to turn into a pugilistic fest where everybody is just fighting each other fist to fist. Objective play is not as critical to a lot of teams on this map as some of the more structured maps that we tend to see.
Yeah, typically you only really see plans go down because you've taken so much map control or gotten so many kills, but the way Mirage was playing, heavily favored objective play. Wolves, on the other hand, they've also planted on their opening round that was that basement attack, but that was because they found all that pressure and all those kills, and right now, they're taking their time to get into the right positions. 3 members on Repel right now, so no one's really inside the building. Bibo, in fact, on Lobby Repel is so far away from his team that if any sort of execute were to happen, he can't help them. So when you're on this window Repel, you can toss a flashbang and Repel on in. It's a bit of a risk and a gamble, and Bibo ideally has to come to their assistance, but here they go.
And the swing on in as Wolves have control, looking for their 4th round in a row. They are just hunting down every single member of Mirage. Diffuser being planted. Will it go off? Will we see yet another objective be successful? Yes, we will. Dexter to save the day, but he spotted out likely on a drone, and a pre-fire will be all they wrote. Wolves have grabbed the lead, and they have their first lead of the game because of it.
And look at that, they didn't even take a tactical timeout. They were so confident on their attacking side once they would get there. And let's break down the last 3 rounds. It's been 3 out of 3 victories, 2 out of 3 plants, and 3 out of 3 opening kills, all going to Wolves. They are so confident in their own skill level on that specific side of attack. And I said it earlier, looking at how teams are playing at this tournament, I deem Wolves a top 5 worthy team at this major. And of course, because we have 4 different groups, we don't see every single matchup because that's just not how it goes. You don't play every single team. We'll be here forever. But I'm very, very excited to see, assuming that Wolves make it through into playoffs, how they do in the quarters and possibly going forward against the other top members of the other groups. I believe this was a tactical timeout from the coach of Mirage. At least they were talking, and a board was whipped out with strats or something along those lines of notes. The thing is, Mirage, it's slowly slipping away. And it can be very hard to figure out what the exact issues are on bank defense because, as we said, it's a very big open map. So many different areas things can go wrong, and it can just be as simple as you're losing your initial gunfight and things snowball out of control because when the map is so large, losing one member means you lose a ton of control, or you lose an important angle or area on the map that you really want to care about, or that you do care about rather. So if anything, the easiest thing way to approach is figure out the opening kill/diff situation and stop dying first. But it's just not that simple. I mean, you saw it last round. P4 jumps in a window with no real support, just pew-pews Kento, jumps back out. What do you do against that? You shoot back harder, but it's just not that simple. So if anything, Mirage, play closer together, try and force 2 versus 1s. Don't take the 1v1s now, because you're not winning them, not against Wolves.
How hard?
Super hard. The hardest, if you will.
You guys gotta shoot back hard.
You gotta shoot back harder.
Welcome on that note. Welcome everybody from Stream B.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Thanks for tuning in.
You meant it.
Hope that you enjoyed the Dire Wolves FaZe Electric 2 Boogaloo match that happened.
Must have been fun.
I
actually
would have loved to have watched that matchup because in many ways I would have probably watched it in disbelief. For those of you that are just tuning in, Mirage was actually doing mighty fine. They were up 4-1. As you can see from the score line, they've lost all of their momentum, just taking their timeout at the tail end. Round number 9. Wolves are on a 4-round win streak right now.
Yep. That side swap really did a dirty job on Mirage. Mo's back on pulse, and you mentioned it, Parker. It did a number on them.
What did you say?
It did a number on Mirage.
Okay.
What do you, am I saying things weird or are you hearing things weird? Either way, P4, easy.
Oh, Dexter gets the first pick, but it's very quickly traded back. P4 looking for another, and he'll get it. It's kind of nice to see the Zof AR back in play.
Lovely. Just because the LMG was abysmal to play against, but yeah, lovely.
We don't need your personal opinions about the gun.
That's everyone's opinion, by the way.
Don't need everybody's opinions about the gun. I bet people think birds are real, too.
Oh, that's...
Bird believers.
There's no way that works. Yeah, I was gonna say that C4 cannot go through there. No.
I mean, maybe they've tried it. Who knows?
Mo
did not have the most success on this cardiac sensor the last time he was put in this very familiar position, Nick, playing downstairs in open area. In fact, nobody really had much success. It was almost a flawless round for Wolves. That's where I think things really took off for this team. Mo was picked off, if you remember, through the same soft wall that Kento is watching, one of the panels leading from the break room towards the square stairs, the back. Skylight stairwell, as it used to be called. I think most people just call it square now.
Yeah. Top and bottom square seems to be the way forward. Callouts-wise, Bibu is just really taking his time right now. I'm not sure they know exactly how they want to approach this, but they're rotating around to get into the right position, open up the soft floor, apply pressure. Bibu can go in through that closet wall, and then the bombs net gets pressure upon it.
That's a lot of damage being done to P4. Still on square stairs, 20 seconds left. You wouldn't know it because of how slow Wolves are taking it. They're dotting their I's, they're crossing their T's, and they're starting off with a pick as Bibu bursts on in. Suddenly, Mirage has all the kills, but that leaves just Mo as Wolves answer back. And look at Mo in his position. He's left like a lamb to slaughter, and boy, the Wolves are hungry. That's another round in a row, and it's match point for Wolves.
That could have gotten dicey. I mean, there was no diffuser to be picked up by any members of Wolves there. If Bibu were to be shut down by Mo, all of a sudden, that is a clutchable position to be in. But now instead, we're looking at match point for Wolves. And which bomb site do you go to? Basement is statistically the best bomb site overall, but you haven't won a single defense yet. If you're Mirage, which means they're all bad bomb sites, really. You tried basement once, didn't work out. Then you went to open area time and time again, didn't pan out either. Archives tell us no team is really taking us there. It's just such a weak and unreliable bomb site to play on. The thing is, Mira is available. You could try and get fancy and just kind of break the wall, if you will. Brute force your way through it. But instead, it's going to be one of those default basement setups. Mo is actually off the smoke and onto Echo instead, and that gives Wolves a lot more time to work with, which might not bode well for Mirage because Wolves have been taking it very, very slow already. Those toxic babes could really be the difference maker in that last sub 20 seconds, which has been the last 3 previous rounds.
Wolves looking for 3 big points in regulation. Remember what we said about those predictions. If Wolves and FaZe won both of their matches in regulation, it would ensure that Mirage did not make it out of the group. I need to see what the landscape is now, but FaZe losing against Direwolves certainly opens the door for Mirage to pick up 6 points tomorrow and still make it to the main stage on Friday. It's unlikely based on how Mirage has played thus far. They only have a single point, and that one was picked up in an overtime loss to the very team that they are now currently about to lose if things continue in this way in overtime. And look at that. P4 bursts forward, gets a pick, but it's traded right back. Dexter follows, Rise securing another kill for this Wolves team. On rappel, inside of open area. Clear out the roamers. That's something that we knew Mirage liked to do, hold the map on that main floor and then move towards the bottom floor. You might not have physical presence there, but there's a yokai drone to help you out. And doing some scouting is the owner of Mohesi.
P4 had a slow start again, or slow game rather, against Direwolves, but he's not letting that affect him. He's 10 kills right now, intrigue for his team. Almost every single round together with Mowgli, finding great success. Second top gunner with 10 kills. Mo's got info, but no one can really act upon it. The remaining roamers are just sitting tight and holding on. You can't really fight against this roam clear from Wolves right now because you don't have the numbers. Kento actually fell back to basement as well, so the roam game has been sacrificed. It's gone.
They still got the yokai up there. I'll scout for information. 2 yokais for Echo. The second one will be down below, likely to stop the plant in its tracks. Again, this has been a very objective-heavy bank. Both teams favoring the diffuser being planted. So far, Wolves have done it in rounds 7 and 9. Another diffuser down could potentially paralyze this Mirage defense, of which there are only 3 sitting in the bomb site. And Oryx is not exactly the operator that you want anchoring down a bomb site, but that T5 will just do in a pinch. There's a late flank that could also come in from Kento, depending on what hatches have been opened up, because Oryx, if people recall, can jump through those hatches. And if there's a post-plant that involves this Wolves team upstairs in open area, that's where Kento could shine. Diffuser being planted right now by Bibu as there's 30 seconds left on the clock. Yokai goes off, Shinka doing damage and finishing off Kento. I don't know if he was looking to roam or not, but Diffuser's down and it's a 4v2 for Wolves. It doesn't look like Mirage is going to be able to secure a single point in this matchup. Both players from Mirage on the main stairs. There's a crossfire potential as Wolves are holding this angle. And there they go! Shinka getting both of them. And Wolves getting all 3 of them. Points, that is. All but guaranteeing that they will play in the playoffs on Friday.
Yeah.
99% likelihood. Excellent stuff by Wolves. And that's a huge win.
It is, and I mean, so much confidence. I'm sure Lulun and Helby are very happy with that performance because they are holding on. You know, they're down 1 and 4, just keeping it cool, not calling for a timeout, not looking like they have any doubts about the side swap. And they go on attack, and they win flawless. They won every single attacking round, planting in half of those. And they found either an uncontested or uncontested opening kill in every single of those rounds as well. Very, very dominant attack inside on Bank. Very impressive to watch. And they've just added Bank to their map pool for this tournament for the first time.
6 rounds in a row, by the way, just in case you're curious as to what that looks like. With Direwolves' victory, they now sit at 6 points. FaZe Clan at 6 as well. Wolves will move up to 11, so not quite clinched just yet because there are still 6 points remaining. Really depends on what happens tomorrow. The mathematicians will know better unless they have clinched in another way that we haven't been informed of. We'll gain that information for you here while we toss to a break, and then we'll come back to talk about what exactly happened between Mirage and Wolves that led to Wolves winning by the score they did of 7-4.
I'm Nicholas Martin, but you know me as Pingu. I'm a 2-time Rainbow Six Siege World Champion and former top Rainbow Six Siege player in Pro League. Welcome to my Siege Ranked Bootcamp. We're talking 20 seconds left on the clock, you got the diffuser in hand, what do you do? Play the way that you're comfortable with, because you have confidence when you're in this position, that is when you're gonna be at your very best. Good luck.
Well, what a result that was for Wolves. Usually we say that the rematch favors the team who lost.
Yeah.
But as you can see right here,
Didn't. Not really.
did not favor Mirage at all. In fact, they fell short of where they were in the first match after they pushed to overtime. Well, I guess technically it was Wolves who pushed to overtime.
Yeah, it was. It was.
And Mirage still ended up picking up a single point. And as of right now, it's Mirage's only point. And because Direwolves defeated FaZe Clan while that match was ongoing, it has thrown this entire group into chaos. And we'll have a visual representation of the group for you in just a moment or two.
Sick.
But I'm sure you want to see the highlights, of which there were actually many during that matchup.
Yeah, there were. I mean, the first 4 rounds, explosive for Mirage. The last 6 rounds, a complete fiesta for Wolves. I mean, they were stealing every single winning kill and just winning every single gunfight. But the first 5 rounds were very competitive and very close all across the board.
Absolutely. 6 rounds in a row for Wolves to close out that matchup. They kept themselves cool, they kept themselves level-headed, and they stuck with it. And once the side swap happened, they were very firmly in the driver's seat. There were some strong performances for both of these teams, Nick. Dexter, in particular, was the best performer on Mirage, especially in the early portion of that matchup. Most of Mirage fell off in the later parts. I love how that is a highlight.
Yes.
I thoroughly appreciate that. Is a spectator bug, by the way. That has nothing to do with the actual in-game issue. just in case anybody's curious. This round from Mirage,
Oh, yeah.
I was a huge fan of. I thought this was exceptional, and Mirage really did show a lot of creativity
They did.
on those attacks.
I mean, they had one way to attack every single bomb site that we have basically never seen before at this major event. And Mirage, one of the big critiques that we gave them from NAL Stage 3 is that they had one way to attack and they would have to repeat that strategy despite losing it. So I love to see that they have been working on their weakness and bringing it out in the group stage of this event.
This is the first international event for Mirage, and
Yes.
we always kind of treat these newer teams to international events with kids' gloves because we know, well, I don't from a player's perspective, but you do in particular from your own experience. But we know from commentary work and from talking to teams that there's always jitters, there's always a lot to learn, there's always a lot to try to figure out about these matches.
Yeah.
And honestly, Mirage is going to take this international experience. It will likely make them a better team in the NAL. Mirage are not able to make it to SI based on points. The only way that Mirage would be able to make it to the Six Invitational is through the qualifiers. And I fully expect them to keep this roster and run through the qualifiers to see. Now, they're going to have to go up against some titans in North America. There's a very high likelihood that TSM and Space Station and Sonics might not make it. So all of those teams are going to be there along the way for Mirage to go toe-to-toe with. Even if they only finish with a single point, tomorrow they lose both their matches. Mirage is coming back to the North American League a better team based on the results and the experience that they've had. But enough about Mirage. We're talking about the Wolves. They have all but clinched a spot to make it. It is still statistically possible that they don't make the playoffs. We have not been informed otherwise, unless there's some voodoo magic that goes on with those numbers. Wolves, just like we saw with the other teams in Group A, nobody's position is locked in as of today, and we might actually end the day, depending on what happens in these next two matches, we could end the day with not a single team clinched and not a single team going home.
And that just makes tomorrow that much more exciting because who would want to watch day 3 being like, well, these games don't really matter. Half the teams will hide strategies. No, we want to see day 3 be the qualifying moment for the majority of teams, both in the sense of going home and who qualifies for the main event.
It's always a bit of a bummer when the last day has some matches that aren't as meaningful.
Yeah.
You always want to go into the last day and have to hold your breath when your teams play because there's already been some upsets so far today. Direwolves defeating FaZe Clan is certainly an upset based on what we saw from Direwolves yesterday.
Yeah.
They got 7-1 by FaZe Clan to turn around and then win 7-3 in their next matchup. That is clearly an upset based on the previous result. But by doing so, Direwolves is now in contention to make it out of this group. FaZe Clan are still the masters of their own fate, as are Direwolves. But if FaZe Clan are unable to prevail in their matches tomorrow, the team that finished second at Berlin, the team that won the major that happened in Sweden, in Gävle, this time last year might not make it to the main stage on Friday, and that would be very surprising.
It would, especially given the group that we saw. I mean, it's Direwolves and Mirage and FaZe and Wolves themselves. It's like, when you look at that as a fan going into this event, you're like, FaZe and Wolves are going to make it out, guaranteed. There's just no way anything else happens. But because of this upset earlier, just now, like, the last 30 minutes, it could be different. We might not see FaZe.
All it takes is a single upset. And tomorrow, Direwolves are going to play up against Mirage. Direwolves beat Mirage the first time. If Direwolves win that one as well, the likelihood of DW going into the groups on Friday soars. And that is something that we will have to watch because Mirage might be in a position tomorrow where they just, depending on what happens in that first matchup, they might be knocked out very early on in the day. What will then happen? Will there be a drive or a desire to play spoiler to one of the teams in the groups, or will they just roll over?
Yeah, be like,
That's the
yeah,
thing.
game doesn't matter. We go home and you, meh. There are those two differences, right? I think Mirage, more than anything, they want to get as much experience out of this as possible. And that should be the goal for a new team because you don't always have the luxury of going to an international tournament, especially when you just made this roster with 2 new players. So it's a privilege to be here for them.
Wolves picked up 3 big points that they so desperately needed, and it looks all but certain that they'll make it out of the group. There's still 2 more matches on this stream and 2 more matches on our sister stream. Mandy and Dev will be taking you the rest of the way here. You and I are done for the day.
Yeah.
Let's grab something to eat and then
yes, please.
take our makeup off, and then just flourish like we hope all of you are doing. We'll be back from a break in just a couple minutes, and then we'll get underway with our 7th matchup of the day.